Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Welcome in to another episode of Newhouse Afternoon alongside Jish Sikulski. I'm Nathaniel Cunningham, but it's not your traditional Thursday crew. Milo and Drew, they had to take the week off, so we figured we're still going to bring you some content, though, here on Newhouse Afternoon. Yeah. And there's so much stuff that we need to break down, Jish, through Syracuse women's basketball playing in conference tournament tonight, Syracuse men's basketball as well, a couple of pro sports. Only an hour, but we're going to try to jam-pack this one as much as we can.
What a day for sports. It kind of came out of nowhere with some news that broke this morning in the pro sports. We'll get to that a little later, but I think the big thing that we got to talk about right now, Nathaniel, is the ACC tournament for the women's side that's happening tonight. Playing California. I know you remember the last time they played California. That was in the Dome. Triple overtime game. I think these teams match up pretty well. I'm happy that it was Cal that won just for the sake of having a good game. You know what I mean? Against Wake Forest, that just to me smells like a blowout if Syracuse played Wake Forest in postseason play. This feels kind of more like a playoff matchup, that kind of rematch of the regular season.
And I think it's important, too, the fact that you have a game like this, because going forward, the next matchup is the number 2 seed in Louisville. So it's a tough game in and of itself as well. So it's good for Syracuse to have competitiveness before that, and compared to maybe a Wake Forest team they may have handled rather easily. But I think the bigger thing about this one is just the way in which they, like you said, the way in which they match up, the way in which they work together. They play similar offenses. They work similar. And I think that game for Cal was also a good thing, because it kind of turned their season around.
Yeah.
They dropped their first 3 ACC games, and then they kind of clawed back into this 10 seed as an ACC tournament. They were on the fringe of getting that first round bye. So there is a lot of that that matchup earlier in the year is what propelled both these teams to Syracuse continuing to prove they can win those close games, and Cal to kind of revive their season and prove they're still in it.
Right, and Cal's just taking care of business, right? It's not like they're going out there and they're necessarily stomping all over some of the best teams, although that Notre Dame win earlier in the season,
that's a massive
really good win for them. They had a very nice win there. The Virginia win, I guess, is their biggest win for Cal, but they haven't really gone toe-to-toe with some of the better teams and come out victorious. Like you said, they started the conference slate 0-3. I mean, granted, you play UNC, NC State, Duke. Those are not games you're going to... They kept it close against Duke, though. They kept it much closer than Syracuse did against Duke. So I think Cal could kind of wear their Cinderella slippers, and I think that Syracuse has to be sweating, because you look at the last 2 Cal games, too, right? Beat SMU 78-34. You don't even do that on 2K. You can't do that in 2K. It doesn't matter what difficulty you put it on. Those are video game numbers. Syracuse was doing that against teams like Mercyhurst. They did that against an ACC team, and then they go on in the first round of the ACC tournament. It's win or go home, and they win by 23 points, rather, over Wake Forest Jordan number. If I'm Syracuse, I'm kind of shaken, because, they also have the revenge thing on their mind. I don't know. I think all the wins kind of in the Golden Bear sails, and it's kind of a disadvantage with the way the ACC tournament bracket is set up, that Syracuse is not really... They're going to come in cold. They haven't played a game yet, so they don't really have that intensity down that California is going to have. And I feel like the Golden Bears are just going to be a little bit hungrier. I'm scared if I'm Syracuse.
It brings up an interesting point. You talk about rest versus rust. It's tough to win 5 games in 5 days. That's what the Golden Bears are tasked with doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you mentioned the fact Syracuse hasn't played in a couple days. Now, granted, it also is around similar to what the regular season schedule is. They play Sunday. They have off until Thursday. But for a team that has a game that's been in Duluth, Georgia a little longer, gotten used to it, actually had competitive basketball, and then turned around, and they blew out Wake Forest. They really dominated those middle two quarters. It allowed them to rest their starters.
Yeah.
So if there were concerns about maybe they gas out too early, they didn't. I think that there's a lot that this Golden Bears team, like you mentioned, has a lot of momentum now. And I think there is validity if you're a Syracuse fan to sit here and say, maybe I am a little concerned with what this Golden Bears team can do.
Right. It's kind of the way these tournaments are set up, too. I feel like there might have to be some sort of reshuffling because the teams that don't get the first round bye get to have those playoff reps. It's the same thing with the college football playoff too, right? Miami made it to the championship game when they really weren't supposed to. Last year, Ohio State won it all when they were playing in the first round, but that's neither here nor there. I really think it does put teams that get those byes, as much as it's good for the rest, at a disadvantage because if you're a Californian, you're playing a Wake Forest, like not really, they're in the same league, but not really on the same level. They get to rest some of their star players, and Cal really has that star player in Lulu Twydale. Oh my goodness, 3 30-point games this year. Was kind of limited against Syracuse, so I do think that this is something that Syracuse fans can really hang their hats on. They locked her up. She did have 16 points, led the team, but those 7 turnovers, that was a big reason why Syracuse could pull it off in double overtime. And I feel like they're going to have enough tall guards in the Syracuse team that can guard her. I think Sophie Burrows might be the one that gets the majority of guarding her. Australia, exactly, right? They both come from a land down under, but Sophie Burrows this season, defensively, has been arguably the best defensive player, maybe outside of Uche Azoje on the team. I'd say maybe the best perimeter defender on the team, just by the way she goes after it. She's so tenacious, chasing loose balls, getting rebounds too. She's a 6-foot guard, and before I think, in years past when she was a freshman, sophomore, still figuring things out, she didn't really use her frame as much as she has this year.
100%.
And because of that, I think she can, and she's quick too. I think she really can stay in front of Twydale and limit her scoring, and that would be the key for Syracuse to win.
I also think there was a different expectation for Sophie Burrows coming into this year.
Yeah.
Because the expectation under Felicia Leggett-Jack has always been you had Deasia Fair, and then once Deasia Fair left, you handed the reins to not Sophie Burrows, Georgia Woolley. Mm-hmm. And once Georgia Woolley had those reins and she now left, you had to hand them to somebody else. You hand them to Sophie Burrows.
Right.
But that's not inherently the role that she should play. Mm-hmm. And instead, using that size like you mentioned, after early on in this season, especially after Syracuse's loss to Michigan down in Mohegan Sun, something that Coach Felicia Leggett-Jack expressed was that if she's not going to attack, if she's not going to go get those rebounds and find other ways to be useful that aren't scoring the basketball, then she's going to get benched. And I think Sophie took that and learned other ways.
Yes.
And she has completely transcended the way that she plays the game of basketball. It's helped Syracuse because she was just able to change what she's doing and how she plays.
I obviously don't know Sophie Burrows as a person, but in terms of being a basketball player and a team player, I have so much respect for Sophie Burrows because this could have been her team. And she started off really slow shooting the basketball. I think she was like 4 for her first 31 from beyond the arc, and that was like her game. It's so easy if you're a shooter and you're not shooting well to get in your own head, but she just rolled her sleeves up and went to work. And I think that the team has greatly benefited from it because you bring in Layla Feely and Dominic Darius, and they can fill in some of the scoring gaps. Uche Azoje has been a godsend in the paint. This is a team that is so well constructed, which is what makes it so confusing why they don't really have a signature win yet, if you ask me. I don't think that the Syracuse team has been they haven't really proved any doubters wrong. I think they are a very good team, but if you were to stack up like the resume of the Syracuse team from 2 years ago, the last one that made the tournament, to this one, I'd say even though that team I think had less talent, they had better wins. They had better games under their belt. Syracuse, meanwhile, gets blown out by 20 against Virginia Tech. They don't even make it close against Duke. The closest game they really had against a really good team was that game down in North Carolina. And those circumstances were wild in the snow. I feel like if that was a normal game, and I guess like there were fans there, maybe even a broadcast. There wasn't a broadcast for that game. North Carolina might win that one by a lot more. I mean, I'm just a little concerned with this Syracuse's team. Whenever they faced the creme de la creme of women's basketball, it seems like they kind of falter and they kind of fall hard on their face. Meanwhile, Cal, like I said, a 4-point game against Duke. They beat Notre Dame. Syracuse lost by 10 to Notre Dame. I hate doing this transitive property thing when it comes to matchups, but you can't help yourself sometimes, right? When you see that this team wakes up and brings their A game against the top teams, and even though they're losing, they're not losing by a lot. They're showing a lot of heart. That gives me more faith in the Golden Bears in this one than Syracuse.
And I think there is some valid reason to be concerned. Maybe some of our listeners are concerned. We'd love to get your thoughts here on Newhouse Afternoon. Give us a call, 315-437-7644. Again, especially with tonight's game against California, what are kind of those aspects going to be like? And I think there is some validity in comparing this team to the NCAA team from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Because I think part of that was that Syracuse, in the identity that is Syracuse basketball, was a little bit different in you're going to have some high-flying games. You're going to have some games where you have runs and almost kill shots, where you go on a 10-0 scoring run. This edition of Syracuse basketball can't do that. This edition is going to bully ball. They're going to get down low. They're going to be physical. They're going to draw you into the depths, and they're going to see how you can deal with that. And some teams this year, like you've talked about, the creme de la creme of the ACC, have handled that really well. Other teams have not. This is a Cal team that's heating up, that's got that experience. And for a team that's playing so many freshmen, for a team that's been injured, for a team that's gone through everything under a 7th-year head coach who's been absolutely stellar and coming off her best season in Sharman Smith with the Golden Bears, there's the experience now that's gotten. And I think adding on the playoff basketball, adding on the fact that this team is learning something a little bit, I think you're now at a point where no team in the ACC, especially from here on out, is one that can be taken lightly.
Definitely not. And that team from 2 years ago, they were first-round outs to Florida State, a team that they had beaten in the regular season. So just because that Syracuse has beaten Cal before doesn't mean they're going to do it again with how well this Cal team has been coached and how well they've kind of stuck together and now are blowing teams out, and they are just an undeniable force. I think Cal could take it, but there's still a great argument for Syracuse, just leaning on the vets as they have all season. And the powerhouse, the freshman of the year, Uche Azoje. I mean, what a revelation she's been. Just basically a walking double-double. I would be shocked if she wasn't a national all-freshman first team. She could be the freshman of the year nationally just with how well she's contributed. But I think team success will have a lot to do with that as well. There aren't many centers that could match up with her. The only issue is the fouls. So if I'm Cal, I'm probably attacking Uche early. I'm trying to get her undisciplined, but I mean, I hate doing the comparison game, but I do love it too. I like looking at the DeAsia Fair team versus this team. And I think that the reason why this team might have better success long term is because if you shut down DeAsia on that team, it's game over. I mean, there was nobody else that could consistently carry the scoring load. Woolley and Burrows were more secondary scorers. Kyra Wood and Latham, they just did different things. They weren't scoring 30 a game like DeAsia Fair, where they were there for the rebounds and doing all the dirty work in the paint. It was a well-balanced team, but it was kind of fragile. If DeAsia Fair wasn't on, which she rarely ever was not on, she was best basketball player I've ever seen at Syracuse while I've been here. Yes, exactly.
100%,
oh my
100%.
goodness. Just you don't see someone that small do all that. But if she was having an off night, then the Syracuse offense was not scoring, and I think that we saw the growing pains last year when the team finished well below 500. But this year, I think that you have the multiple scoring options. You can take over a game in the paint with Uche Azoje. You can take over a game on the perimeter with Layla Feely. Their only quad one win of the year for Syracuse against Virginia. Layla Feely almost had 40 points. She can shoot it. If Sophie Burrows is having an on night, if Sophie Burrows has an on night, Syracuse can beat any team in the country.
100%.
Because Dominique Darius plays her role. She's the facilitator. She plays defense. Layla Feely, you know that she's going to get her buckets.
Second teamer too.
you know she's going to get her buckets. If you can get a third scorer in there, even a fourth if you're, if Dom Darius is having a great night, who's stopping the Syracuse team? Defensively, they're very sound. They're well coached. They have a lot of players they use off the bench, fresh legs. Your Shai Hawkins of the world goes completely unsung. Aurora Almone, she's there to eat up some minutes, can put her hands up in the paint, almost 6 feet. Or probably, she is over 6 feet.
Yeah, 100%.
Kira Scott, she can give you some minutes. Even Maddie Potts is starting to heat up.
In 10 minutes, she's had 10 points in at least 3 games this season.
But my only issue is Syracuse only has everything go right against the Boston Colleges of the world, against the Pitts of the world, against the teams that they are supposed to beat. And you got to give them credit because they are handedly beating the teams they are supposed to beat. 25 points over Boston College, a bunch over Pitt in the other Boston College game. They beat Mercyhurst by 60-something points. They're doing what they're supposed to do, but now the lights are bright. And there is nowhere to run. You have to play who's in front of you, and those teams are just getting better and better and better. It's a little worrying, but it's super exciting at the same time to see.
The pressure is on for Syracuse to step up and meet the moment, and you also mentioned a lot of this kind of comparison. You talked about Uche Azoje, and the first name that comes to mind when watching her play and the way that she plays is Camila Cardoso. Back when she was in Syracuse in the 2020-2021 season. And when you look through the numbers, these teams are ever so similar. They were both teams that did excellent throughout the regular season. They had great years, got into the conference tournament, were solid NCAA tournament teams, but then they run into UConn in the NCAA tournament. And any team that runs into UConn is going to lose. Right. It's just the way that it is.
And that's the same this year, too. Something's never changed.
Yeah, UConn is just a powerhouse. But the way that team played in the 2020-2021 season to the way that they're playing now are so similar, and the makeup of the team is almost similar, that you hope that the outcome is going to be different, learning from that. But a lot of that team and that program is just not here anymore.
Yeah, different coach, different.
This team has to go through these experiences and learn these things, but it is going to be tough for them to go through that process kind of on their own.
It does give you some I think, confidence, the fact that FLJ has been there before. Coach Felicia Leggett-Jack, she's been in the tournament. She's won an NCAA tournament game, hasn't won an ACC tournament game yet. Yeah, no, she has not won an ACC tournament game yet, but that could change against California here. I think that the battle-tested coach, now there's no real, excuse for her. She's got a great team full of senior leaders. They are very, very amenable to coaching from everything we've heard from Felicia Leggett-Jack, and they also take initiative. There is not a lot of excuses for this team, but it is still very important that they do make this run in the ACC tournament because the seeding does matter. You don't want to play in stores again. You do not want to play the buzzsaw that is UConn. It's kind of unfair almost in college basketball on the women's side. There aren't a lot of Cinderella teams. It seems like the top teams are always the ones just eating alive all. Like, I remember Norfolk State last year was the talk of the town. They had won, I think, 19 straight games to go to the tournament, and then I'm pretty sure they lost round one to Maryland, if my memory serves correctly. So you have to get that higher seed so you can be the one cannibalizing on the low mid-majors that kind of snuck in, rather than having to be the little fish in stores or what have you.
It's a tough slate for Syracuse looking towards the NCAA tournament, but the bigger thing is the ACC tournament against California tonight. We've come up on a quick break, but before we do that, score prediction between Syracuse and California. Tip-off's at 5 o'clock.
Oh, because the tip-off's at 5 o'clock, that changes my score prediction. No, I'm kidding. I would say that California takes it 72-70. I think it might be a taste of their own medicine, a buzzer-beater shot from, or close to a buzzer-beater. It wasn't technically a buzzer-beater. From Lulu Twidell. I think California gets the last laugh here.
I think we see Uche Azoje step up to the moment, deliver when the lights are brightest. I think Syracuse gets it done. Give me Syracuse 78. California 75.
It's going to be a high-scoring, close game. We both agree on that. I love it.
High-scoring game, and that's what you want to see in postseason basketball. All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about professional sports, some trades coming out around the NFL, and also a player or two all-stars returning in the NBA. You won't want to miss it.
Catch the Syracuse basketball pregame prior to...
Awesome.
Sweet.
Thank you. Thank you. Ball knowledge.
Facts.
Ball knowledge.
Facts.
Ball knowledge. Is this recorded anywhere, or is it just live?
Or is it just live and then that's it?
Because I didn't tell my parents about it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Very short notice. I don't think they'd be able to listen anyway. I know the clips get posted.
Paul, how long is break? Okay, cool.
I can take this one.
Yeah. Yeah. DJ Moore. I feel like this was not enough for DJ.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. Given the fact they also gave up a fifth.
Right. Talk about the trade market for like AJ Brown. How it hasn't factored at all. I don't think they're gonna trade him. I don't.
I mean, they want to haul that.
Yeah, because they don't want to trade him. I honestly don't think he even wants to be traded. It's like the same with any good player. I don't think he's a franchise guy anymore. Like they could move off of him, but you know, if somebody offers you like Marvin Harrison in the first round pick for AJ Brown, you're sprinting.
Crazy over.
Hey man,
I love AJ Brown.
Dude, AJ Brown, man. I'm telling you, anything on football field. We'll talk about it though.
Oh yeah. Oyenemola.
Akinbalawa. I want Akinbalawa.
Death beam pointed at Earth.
When you want out of this block?
Whatever.
Okay.
Doesn't really
Went
matter.
over where you kind of stopped talking, I guess.
Yeah. As long as we hit our breaks, don't really care. I don't know a whole lot about this Willax team. I'm going to be so honest with you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
we could just go.
They've
around,
won 3 in a row.
Around the hill, if we
Sure.
do.
Yeah. We'll talk about whatever.
Fourth block.
Both lacrosse teams.
Oh yeah, that too.
We can just do that. It'll be a shorter fourth block, I imagine. How much longer we got?
Said 3 minutes, about 3 minutes ago.
Okay. About a minute. Cool. Thank you. It's annoying that the IFB isn't working, but it's all right. We make do.
Oh yeah.
Hurt your body? Call Harding Mazzotti. 1-800-LAW-1010. ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1, 1200 AM and 1440 AM. ESPN 97.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. We have some big trades or one big trade to talk about in the NFL. Alongside Nathaniel Cunningham, I'm Jish Sokolsky. If you want to join in our conversation, 315-437-7644 to talk about the Bills are back. And I mean it too.
Did they ever leave?
They left when they were second round exits in the playoffs this year. Yeah, they were not back. But today, this morning, they made a big trade with the Chicago Bears. The Bills receive Pro Bowl wide receiver DJ Moore and a 5th round pick for just a 2nd round pick. Oh my goodness. That's a steal and a half. They took the crown jewels and then they took a souvenir cup on the way out too. What a robbery for the Bills. That was their number one position of need. This was a wide receiver that was available, and if I'm the Bears, I'm asking for more from this guy. No pun intended. Even though he is kind of getting up there in age, he was still super productive this year, Nathaniel.
100%. And I think DJ Moore is not a guy that you let walk for a 2nd round pick. I understand this year's NFL draft is maybe a little more stacked in the wide receiver position, or at least has got a little bit of depth in the wide receiver position. But to let a guy go for just a 2nd round pick and you're giving up an additional 5th round on top of him, to me it just doesn't make sense unless the Bears go and find some other trades or draft really, really well. Because there's no world in my mind where the Bears, who are coming off of really one of their best seasons in a long time, choose to move off a guy and continue to move forward.
This is just a slam dunk for Joe Brady, though, the new coach of the Bills, who was the offensive coordinator in Carolina a little bit ago when DJ Moore was there, so they have that familiarity. I'm sure he saw that he was available and just pounced on it. This is exactly what Bills fans were clamoring for the entire season. I mean, Khalil Shakir's nice. He's a good gadget. He's not going to win you football games like DJ Moore will. He is a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. Is he a low-end wide receiver 1? That's up for debate. It doesn't quite matter, though. The fact that Josh Allen made some of these guys where if they were on other teams probably wouldn't get any playing time. He made them into good startable players. Now you bring in DJ Moore, it just gives me so much shades of Stephon Diggs when he was with the team back in the heyday there, except hopefully DJ Moore doesn't bring the same I wouldn't say off-field antics, but the same give me the ball mentality. DJ Moore, I mean, he can do almost anything you want, and Joe Brady's familiar with him. He probably had a plan and just told Brandon Beane to go get him.
Yeah, and you sit here and say, like, Khalil Shakir is not, Pro Bowl wide receiver, but when you move down that depth chart, it almost is better for some of these guys because when you look through the receivers that are now sitting in the room, DJ Moore, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, and Keon Coleman. Those are top 5
Keon Coleman,
guys.
maybe not for long.
Maybe not for long, but like
we give that grace to young players.
that to have that depth and to have that ability to run a 5-wide set with 5 actual receivers if need be that are all serviceable.
Yeah. It's
not like these guys you clearly have a bad spot on the Bills wide receiver room. So if you're Buffalo, you've now, like you said, addressed the need. But I think the bigger thing that you've done is you've made it clear that you're going all in. You're not going to have what happened this past year happen again. In a situation where you had no excuse for why you didn't make it to the Super Bowl, you were avoiding kind of all of the Josh Allen's kryptonites, you went out there, you still underperformed, and you said, I'm just betting down, and you got a guy that's going to astronomically help your receiving core for a value that you can't go buy an Arizona iced tea for the amount of money that DJ Moore just got moved for.
And it's not like he's going to be a scrub with Buffalo either. When he was with Joe Brady, he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Granted, only 4 touchdowns. That was the big storyline when he was in Carolina. He couldn't score touchdowns. I know a lot of fantasy owners were probably really upset with that, but he was getting the ball. He had 93 receptions in 2021, which was at the time a career high. He had a career year before as soon as Joe Brady left, that's when he kind of had that down year in 2022, under 1,000 yards. And yeah, you look at the numbers this year, 682 yards for DJ Moore. Granted, a down year. I think the Bears just kind of had a luxury of weapons and didn't have to use him as much. I think that he just fits better with Buffalo as that alpha wide receiver one, because now it allows Buffalo to use more freedom. I think there were a lot of criticisms about Buffalo's offense this year for kind of being milquetoast, and a lot of people blamed Brady for that, when I just don't think that's the case. Who did Joe Brady have to scheme up? He had to do these wide receiver screens, because what else is a Curtis Samuel going to give you? What else is a Khalil Shakir going to give you? Now you have a wide receiver that can run any route on the field, that can catch almost any ball. He was putting up these numbers with, like, not prime Sam Darnold, not this year Sam Darnold, but end of career Cam Newton, and with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield when they were in career limbo. This is the kind of DJ Moore you're getting back, and I think that he's going to have a renaissance in Buffalo this season.
At the same time, this is a Buffalo team that in 2020 led the NFL in wide receiver targets, right? Was throwing the ball down the field a ton.
Sure.
This year, they were 22nd. They were just throwing the ball down the field 55%. Like, it was a lot less of a pass attack, and I understand that their backfield is good. But you need a guy like this to kind of revitalize what it is. And I know every single person that has coached football, and you hear it all the time, you got to run the ball in order to open up the pass game. I get it. I don't disagree with that sentiment. But to have a guy that you can go out there on the first play of the game and just say, hot route down the sideline.
DJ Moore deep ball.
It's 100% something that adds to the depth. And I think that DJ Moore is what the Bills needed. And the fact that they got him, again, I can't express the steal that this is. For a second-round pick, that
it's not going to be worth a lot.
You don't really know is going to matriculate into anything special.
Yeah.
The Bills, again, like, all the chips are in the middle. I don't think they're done either. The Bills are going to continue to make some moves, and I think Buffalo is going to set themselves up to be in a really good spot in the AFC this year. And
as much as it was a steal for Buffalo, this isn't like a bad move for the Bears either, right? Two things can be true at the same time here, right? The Bears have so much young talent at wideout, and I think talent that just works better in the Ben Johnson slot receiver-centric, tight end-centric kind of offense. DJ Moore is a great alpha wide receiver one, which is what I think you need in a Joe Brady offense. That's what made him so successful at LSU with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. But in Chicago, they do things a little differently. They have that kind of outside guy in Rome Odunze, and you kind of just thought to yourself watching Bears games, maybe DJ Moore is holding back his production. This is a great year for Odunze, but then Luther Burden also needs his touches. Colson Loveland was great there, so they kind of had an abundance of riches in Chicago, and I think they did the right thing and got value for him before, things got worse, because the numbers were not great this year. And if you look at it solely on paper, the production's been going down for DJ Moore. This is a career low in receptions for him, only 50. So they couldn't really get him the ball. And I think they understood this is probably the last time that we can sell him for anything. So should they have gotten more than a second-round pick for who is going to be a stud wide receiver one for the Bills? I think they could have gotten more than a second-round pick. Even if it's another mid-round pick, I think that makes this deal a little sweeter for Chicago. But, I mean, his value has gone down inevitably since he was included in that deal for the number one pick going to Chicago for the Bryce Young deal. So I don't think it's a bad move for Chicago. I think that they cut their losses, but I think it's going to look a lot worse once he balls out for Buffalo this year.
But I just don't know if you can say that knowing that Loveland and Odunze and the rest of this Bears receiving core can make the explosive plays that beat the Packers in overtime. I don't know if I trust anybody else in that room but DJ Moore to make that play.
Colson Loveland had that game-winning play against the Bengals. You have Rome Odunze, who's your 50-50 guy. He's made great catches time and time again. And Caleb Williams can kind of throw from any arm angle. I think you can get the ball downfield to your Luther Burden, who's got breakaway speed. You can throw it up there for Rome Odunze, who also has a lot of speed for someone his size.
But DJ Moore was always the number one.
Sure, and DJ Moore is also
that's the problem.
You can't bank on him continuing to be that per se. He's still pretty young. He's only 28 years old. But you don't want him to continuously get his numbers down, and then you can't trade him for anything. It's almost like Nikola Vucevic,
But is the value in the fact that he is so good that it's the same thing of, if I have the best cornerback guarding my wide receiver 1, and I have enough depth in my other guys to be able to go to them a little more. And so maybe DJ Moore looks not as good, but the value isn't inherently him making the catches and the scoring the touchdowns, but opening up the rest of the offense.
That's such a basketball way of thinking about it. I think the NFL just doesn't work that way anymore. There's so much more zone coverage where it's not like you're having your number one corner lock up the number one. The Fangio-style defense, cover threes, roaming safeties. You're going to get safety help no matter what. I don't think that it's very much matchup-based. There are very few defenses in the league that are going solely man-to-man, which is going to free up the field for other people. Yeah, DJ Moore might get a little bit more attention, but not for long, especially with the career trajectory of Odunze and how great Burden looked his first year.
Yeah.
I think that DJ Moore would honestly just start to lose more and more value. So you extract as much value, I think, as you can, but I still think that the Bills, this is exactly what they needed. It's almost like a win-win for both teams. Now, I did mention Nikola Vucevic, who just went to the Boston Celtics, talk about a Chicago team that knows how to get rid of their star talent when they need it and one that doesn't. The Chicago Bulls do not. But he's going to a Celtics team, and there was for one express purpose. The Celtics were confident that Jason Tatum, their star player, was going to come back this year. And we just received news that he is questionable for tomorrow's game against Detroit. He's going to be playing sooner rather than later after tearing his Achilles less than a year ago. I don't agree with that at all, Nathaniel. I don't.
A little bit earlier, if you are the Boston Celtics, if I'm the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum doesn't see the floor at least until the playoffs. And I don't even know if I'd inherently let him back.
Yeah, no.
I think the idea that Jason Tatum should have came back at all this year is kind of silly.
Pie in the sky.
I think that if you get him back comfortably in practicing and you make a deep run, maybe Eastern Conference Finals, maybe Finals if you get there. But if you don't, okay. The Celtics have already exceeded expectations coming into the year, without a doubt. There's no need to rush your $50 million a year guy back on one of arguably the roughest injuries to come back from, especially in basketball.
Their window is so wide open. I'm glad that you said that because they got some surprisingly incredible production out of guys like Neemias Queta, out of their first-round rookie Hugo, out of Baylor Shireman. That's just what the Celtics do. They have guys just at the end of the bench that could start for other teams. That's why Luke Cornett has a big role in San Antonio. Boston, do not get this twisted at all. Boston was going to be fine without Tatum. Yeah, it kind of stinks. You got to pay him all this money just to sit on the bench when there's a possibility he comes back, and he's playing the company way. He's coming back. But these Achilles injuries, they are so easy to re-aggravate. It is so risky, especially if you're an explosive basketball player like Tatum. The Achilles injuries are more common these days because these basketball players are playing at such a high level from such an early age because you use those Achilles so much. Those explosive first steps, they aren't coming from nothing. You're putting so much pressure on it. And if Tatum, he can say he's 100% all he wants, but you just tore that ligament, and it's so important. I don't believe Tatum's going to be the same explosive player this year, so why even bother? He's not. It's not like he's going to be the same star player on a championship team he was 2 years ago. The team was playing fine, and I don't think him coming back being hobbled is going to give them a better chance of winning a championship this year. I just don't see it.
And we were talking about comparisons a little bit earlier. I think it's also important to compare Tatum to Tyrese Halliburton, who also tore his Achilles. He tore it about about 5 weeks later.
Yeah.
He tore his Achilles. Halliburton has also made a pretty good recovery, but he is not anywhere near. Like, we've been hearing for a good couple of weeks now that Tatum is practicing, that he's working out, we haven't not heard that about Halliburton.
Yeah.
He's putting time in the gym, but he's not even close, at least from any reports, to Halliburton returning. Now, I think, granted, the timeline doesn't put him back at all this year, and Indiana hasn't been a good basketball team. At the same time, if you've got a guy who 5 weeks later had the same thing and is a little smaller, not as physically imposing as Tatum is, and is still not on the trajectory of getting there, like, I don't know why you would rush this. This is the cornerstone of your franchise.
You're playing with fire.
the Celtics are going to kick themselves if in the opening weeks of next year, or if he comes back this year in the playoffs and he takes a tumble, because playoff basketball is just different. Everybody's going to cringe, and now everybody's going to go, why didn't he just sit out?
Right.
Because and for the betterment of his career, too, I get it. He wants to play. I get that players want to go out there and be active and put it on. But this is also a guy that's got to think about the longevity of his career.
Yes.
For a guy that's in his prime, for a guy that's, I could argue, could get better. And for a guy that, and frankly, once LeBron leaves the NBA, and the NBA, I think, properly opens up as to who the best player in the NBA really is, I think you're going to see Tatum throw his name back in the mix.
The way I see it, Nathaniel, is if Tatum just sat out the whole year, he still has maybe 4 prime years left.
Yep.
The fact that you rushed him back this year and you're making him play NBA basketball, sure, they might load manage him, they might put him on a minutes restriction. I think they shorten his prime by 2 years. I think by not, if you just bite the bullet at this point, right? If someone tears their Achilles, that what happened to shame? You know, what happened to just, you know, I love the way the Pacers are doing it. They're like, all right, we're going to be bad for 1 year. Halliburton's going to come back. We're going to have a top 4 pick. Hopefully, I mean, we'll see. You know, that could.
No one knows the draft line.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. With the anti-tanking stuff too, but I think that the Pacers played it correctly. The Celtics are just so panicked that they are investing this much money for someone to sit on the bench when I guess he could, in theory, play. I think it's such a mistake, and I think that they shortened their championship window by rushing him back when they could have lengthened it even further if they just let him sit this year, maybe fall short in the playoffs. That's fine. It's not do or die. It's not Cleveland here.
And I think I go back to that point, the money-wise, just looking at the money breakdown. The Celtics are below the first apron. They're not going to get hit with any draft concern. So maybe they're paying the luxury tax. But the roster in and of itself, Vucevic becomes an unrestricted free agent. And the rest of the guys that aren't on the team under contract right now are Jordan Walsh, Amari Williams, Shugla, and Ron Harper.
And they could so easily bring back the guys that like your Harper, who is actually kind of balling out now, and their Jordan Walshes.
But they're all restricted free agents.
Yeah, so
like,
easy.
Those are guys
easy.
who can sign.
Yeah.
Like the window is not this year. It is not do or die. And with an NBA that's kind of all over the place right now, it just doesn't make sense to me. Make sure he's healthy, make sure he's good, and then come back after that.
I really hope you're enjoying the Hoops talk, because after this break, we're going to be talking a little bit about Syracuse men's basketball. Don't go anywhere. That's been an interesting season. We'll be back after this short break.
You guys are clear.
Thank you.
Since we still have, there's another break after this, and then the last break, and you got to be out by 55-20. I'd say pretty much keep like this one probably like 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay, cool.
In all honesty, yeah.
That's fine.
Sounds good.
Honestly, I think it's just a bunch of like big picture stuff, not
Yeah.
just ACC tournament look.
Right. So we have one more break after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Also, if you guys just want to say they need to fire Archer, you won't get in trouble for it. Because everyone on Newhouse has way too scared to just say it's over. They keep being like, well, if they win this game against Pitt, they're going to build momentum.
No.
And that could be good. If you just like,
That's not my take at all. Don't worry about it.
all right, because everyone's going to be too scared. Like, oh, it's going to ruin my career if I say he needs to be fired.
Has anybody shopped around the idea of like who the next head coach is going to be? Or is just nobody willing to say it?
No, not really. No, to be honest with you, no one. I mean, people brought up like Hopkins and Jerry, but they haven't like gone in depth on it. Or Hodgins or something. No one's really gone in depth on it. So if you guys want to do that, go for it.
We could talk about the kid that's got the offer from USF that's visiting this weekend.
Who is that again?
Ty Bell.
Ty Bell.
Bell's son. Top 25, 2028.
Yes, 2028.
There you go.
That was per Mike Waters.
Josh Ertz and Brian Hodgson. So honestly, like instead of the tournament, we can just kind of keep it centered on Autry and possibly his last game in the Dome.
Yeah.
You know, my take is even if they don't fire him, I just don't know if he'd even want to be back at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't. But there's just no way he doesn't get fired.
Yeah. It
think
might be
he
a
would ever resign?
mutual thing. What?
You think he would ever resign?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay,
Like, I
okay.
think he might not want to come back.
Like he just,
Steps
I
down.
don't think it's crazy. But I think his daughter goes here.
That is true, yeah.
So
But I
he
mean, like,
kind of-
he still is a former player. It's not like him resigning would be a big FU to Syracuse. It would more just be like, I can't deal with everybody dogging on me when my players are just bad. So
Yeah, that's true.
see ya.
That's
I don't
true.
got anyone coming in next year. There's nothing keeping me here.
Yeah.
Might as well just get an assistant job somewhere else or something. That's my take.
Goes and coaches at Lemoyne.
Yeah, right. Makes them a powerhouse. Comes into Syracuse, shocks them. Okay, thank you.
What am I doing after this? Oh, I've got to film something. Brutal.
30. Liner and then I'll cue you guys at the start time.
Peter just died. Tough.
You're on.
Welcome back into Newhouse Afternoon. We're continuing to roll on. A whole bunch we've talked about so far and a whole bunch to continue to work through. Jish Sikulski, Nathaniel Cunningham. We talked a little bit about women's basketball, brought it back to some professional sports. Now it's time to hit a little bit about Syracuse men's basketball. And we could really sit in here and preview this game against Pittsburgh on Saturday, the final regular season game for the Orange. But I think the bigger point is that this may be the final regular season game that Adrian Autry coaches inside the JMA Wireless Dome. With how this season has gone and the expectations coming into the year, John Wildhack, the athletic director, leaving, expressed we need to be playing meaningful games in March. Jish, I don't think a regular season game with a 500 record on the line against Pittsburgh
not that meaningful.
is the definition of meaningful.
Yeah, especially now. Oh man, you're fighting for ACC tournament bottom of the ticket seedings. Yeah, the rumors and the whispers have just gotten too loud at this point. I do not believe Adrian Autry will be the head coach of Syracuse men's basketball next year. Whether that means he's let go by this new administration, whoever the new athletic director is, or if that is because he resigns. Honestly, if I'm Adrian Autry, it might not be it might be a you can't fire me, I quit kind of thing. Obviously, that would be tough for him, being a former Syracuse player, having his daughter here. But at this point, with all the noise that's happened, with the way he's just kind of come out in his last two press conferences and just let loose and said my players aren't tough enough, what's keeping him here at this point? There's really nothing. The athletic director who hired him is gone. All the players that he brought in are basically going to leave. There's nobody scheduled to come in next year. It's going to be, there's some kind of dark times ahead, but I think with a good new head coach, Syracuse could be back on track in no time.
Speaking of a good new head coach, Ty Bell, a top 25 recruit in the class of 2028, is taking a visit this weekend. He has an offer from USF. One of the names in position for that job is Brian Hodgson, the current coach
That would be a home
of the
run.
USF Bulls. You think that's a home run?
I do. It's just like the same way Autry was a great story. Oh, he used to play here. You have that similar story, the connection to the area. He's from Western New York, the Buffalo area. This is someone who would want the job, and he's producing at a mid-major. I mean, I'd rather someone who knows how to win basketball games as a head coach than some unproven assistant, which is what the mistake I think they fell into in the loyalty to Boeheim when Autry was hired.
And I think we both agree that going outside the Boeheim tree is what is necessary now, going outside of the Syracuse family really as a whole, which is why I've really been anti-Hopkins as an option for Syracuse.
No.
I think that, yes, there's the proven track record there, but I think if you need to reset, because I'm gonna be honest, I think next year is arguably the most influential year in Syracuse basketball history.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
If this team can't look competitive or look like they're trending in the right direction, Syracuse is going to become just another school. And think, if I told my parents that Syracuse was going to be just another school,
They wouldn't let you come here.
They think I'm crazy.
They wouldn't let you come here.
And
Syracuse is the basketball school. They need that kind of renaissance.
It is. And so it's crazy to think that, but there's a lot of conversation, obviously, about that. And so a lot to kind of take in and deep dive in what that coaching search looks like coming forward.
Yeah, another name that is very popular among Syracuse fans, Josh Schertz, the St. Louis coach. I don't hate that either. I think the A-10 is a pretty good basketball conference, and they are dominating it. Granted, Robbie Avila is, I'm pretty sure, out of eligibility, so they would not really be able to get him back. So if you bring in him, you'd have to trust him to build the roster, but I think he could.
Yeah, a whole lot of questions for Syracuse basketball. They've got to figure it out. But we're going to have one final break here on Newhouse Afternoon. When we come back, we'll take a little look at some other sports here on the Hill. You won't want to miss it.
You are clear.
Cool.
Bang.
Honestly, we're gonna come back probably like 3:54. Just be out by 59.
59?
Like who cares? Yeah, just be out by 59.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right.
And then literally this last segment's gonna be bye.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, just be up at 59 basically.
Okay. Cool.
By 59, so
Yeah, we'll try to get out of it 58:30 at the latest.
sure.
Sound good?
Yeah, I have my clock app open.
Did I clock out today?
Oh.
Fuck, I hope I did. Whoa, Mille Lacs has had this long off?
It's been, Willax?
Mille Lacs.
It's been like a week.
Yeah, they played on Sunday. They don't play again until next Thursday.
Oh.
Oh, no, that's a lie. They play Saturday.
I was going
lied.
to say, what?
They play Johns Hopkins Saturday. Sorry.
Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins.
Syracuse softball's going to get smoked.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Syracuse softball, so.
Nobody knows about Syracuse softball. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but those Utica listeners might, you know?
I don't know who did the scheduling this year, but it's awful. Awful.
Yeah.
They've played UMBC. They're going to play UMBC 9 times this year.
Softball. Jeez. What a funny school that we go to. The scheduling for the lacrosse teams has also just been horrible.
Yeah, I don't
Like, 6 games on the road in a row. Honestly, that could be the whole theme of this blast block here.
Also, like, you go to Air Force and Utah, like, you're just staying out there.
Oh, is it Utah or Denver? I think it's Denver.
Denver.
Yeah.
60 or half a dozen the other.
Sure. Yeah. So it's Johns Hopkins and then Air Force and then Denver and then back home for Georgetown.
Yes. Well, after that Denver game, they've got almost 2 weeks off. Oh wait, I'm blind. They play on a Sunday though against Georgetown.
Oh, chat.
That's quite funny.
Did you see the original screenshot that was sent? You see the screenshot that's in reaction to?
No. What?
In the...
Yeah. Ooh, I didn't even see Reese's thing. So a win plus a wake loss means we're the 13 seed. We lose. We're the 14 seed. We win and wake wins. We're the 14 seed.
Yeah.
So the only way we're the 13 is with a win and a wake loss.
And is that as high? I think that's as high as we can get.
Yeah, 13 is as high as we can get. It's okay. It'll be over by Tuesday.
Yep. Exciting stuff.
Invigorating.
Really, truly.
30.
Thank you.
Fire.
Mic on. You're on.
Wrapping up shop here on Newhouse afternoon. Just a couple more minutes, so let's kind of go through a speed round, the 2-minute drill around the hill. Of course, lacrosse we have not touched on yet. Men's lacrosse plays Johns Hopkins this Saturday down in Baltimore. That's going to be a fun rivalry renewed. I think Johns Hopkins is a lot better this year.
Yeah, I think Johns Hopkins is reloaded, revamped, ready to kind of get back against probably the two most historic programs at Syracuse in the midst of a 6-game road trip. It's not easy.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Hunter Chauvet. I like how the Syracuse men's lacrosse Instagram page is really hyping this up, getting people's interest back in after kind of a really brutal stretch, lost to Harvard and Princeton. Syracuse women's lacrosse playing tomorrow against Virginia Tech. That's kind of just always been the gum under their shoe over the past couple of years. Virginia Tech, not quite the quality program, but Syracuse had a slow start, and they're finally getting their feet under him.
Yeah, when you play the top 3 teams in the nation those first 3 weeks, it's going to be tough, but Syracuse women's lacrosse in the Reggie Thorpe era has kind of picked it up. They've rebounded, and that's what you need. And to get those first couple wins under your belt, it sets you up good going into the rest of the year.
Just kind of crazy scheduling for both of them. The women's lacrosse team starts off with the number 1, 2, and 3 team in the country. The men's lacrosse team is in the midst of a 6-game road stand. Speaking of bad scheduling, I know the Syracuse softball team, you said, has had some questionable scheduling decisions, to say the least.
Yeah, Syracuse softball will play UMBC. I believe it is a total of 9 times this season, which is
what
just
is that?
The luxury of tournament softball. But one thing that's also weird, they play their first home series all the way early to think about this, but March 20th is their home opener, which is relatively early in the year. There might still be some snow on Skytop softball field.
It kind of reminds me of last year when I think it was the Lemoyne game where they were playing in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Those
That's
midweek
awesome.
doubleheaders will do that to you.
I love that, man. Well, wow, we are. That was a pretty good 2-minute drill.
Yeah,
We still
2
got
minutes on
about
the
a
dot.
minute left in the show, so yeah, I think it's about time to start wrapping things up. Nathaniel, this has been quite the pleasure to talk about Syracuse sports with you. Men's basketball, men's lacrosse, women's lacrosse. We talked about the women's basketball team. They have a game against California tonight in their first ACC tournament matchup, looking for their first ACC tournament win under head coach Felicia Leggett-Jack. That's going to be a real fun one tonight. And, of course, the big deal that happened, the DJ Moore trade, the Bills getting their wide receiver 1, and the Celtics bringing back Jason Tatum. That's only disaster in our eyes. Well, that's about all the time we have here on Newhouse Afternoon. Thank you for tuning in and sharing an hour with us. That will be it for Nathaniel Cunningham and myself, Josh Sokolsky. Have a pleasant afternoon, everyone.